We are back on the record at the beginning of media number 4 of Elizabeth Holmes. The time is 4:17.
Ms. Holmes, did we have any substantive conversations during the break?
No.
I'm going to...
Sorry, I didn't hear the answer.
No.
Thank you.
I'm going to hand to you what's been marked. Theranos Exhibit 232. Exhibit 232 purports to be a letter from FDA to Theranos. The date of the letter is October 28, 2014, with starting dates number THER-0360329. Have you seen Exhibit 232 before?
I don't know.
Would you have expected to forward a letter that he received from FDA to your attention?
Generally, yes.
If you look on the first page, this is 329, it says, third paragraph down in the middle of that paragraph, the email you received is your notification that the submission has been placed on hold. And the submission...
I'm sorry, I didn't oh, I see, yes.
Right, and the submission in the first sentence is for Theranos' capillary and nanotuner tubes. Were you aware in October 2014 that Theranos had put this submission on hold?
I don't think Theranos put it on hold. I read this to mean that
Oh,
the
FDA.
FDA put it on hold.
Sorry, I keep getting confused. Were you aware as of October 2014 that the FDA had put Theranos' 510K pre-market submission on hold for the capillary and nanotuner tubes?
I hadn't remembered that. Previously, I had been thinking about that having happened in December, but I see that here.
You thought that happened in December 2014?
I did. When I had the discussion with...
Okay, so if you turn to 330, which is the second page of Exhibit 232. Actually, why don't you, sorry, if you can head back to 329 first. Under modified assays, it says here, you stated in the study design tables you provided in an email sent on November 20th, 2014 that you use FDA cleared or approved assays without any modifications. So is this what you were referring to earlier in your testimony, that Theranos agreed to provide data based on cleared or approved assays to support this application?
So I'm confused by the date, because I think this is dated October of 2014. So I'm...
You're right. Do you remember sending an email with study design tables that included data where Theranos used FDA cleared or approved assays without any modifications?
I'm honestly not sure what this is referring to. I'm not clear.
Okay. Sure. If you continue reading in that paragraph, it says, however, we considered changing the sample matrix from venous blood samples to capillary blood samples to be an assay modification because the assay was validated by the manufacturer and cleared by the FDA for use with venous blood. Changing the sample type from venous blood to capillary whole blood may have an impact on the performance of the assay that has been cleared or approved by FDA. And then if you turn the page to 330, the letter goes on to talk about how glucose concentrations in capillary blood are often higher than venous blood. You can take a moment to read it if you haven't, which can have the effect of invalidating reference ranges. you see that discussion?
I do. I'm just reading it quickly.
Do you understand FDA to be saying here that it was not okay for Theranos to be submitting data on cleared devices if those cleared devices were being used to show the that data on Theranos's devices were accurate because you were using those cleared devices with capillary blood and not with venous blood?
So I actually don't remember this memo specifically, but I know that at a certain point in time, FDA asked that we only submit on devices that were cleared for capillary samples.
Okay. And when did you obtain that understanding?
I don't know.
Would it have been around this late 2014 timeframe?
I thought it was after that because I believe that we ended up getting agreement to send the submissions in for which we got feedback in December, and I don't think that all of those test systems were cleared for capillary use, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so if you go on to 331, which is page 3 of Exhibit 232, in the middle of the page under 2, it says, in your submission, you've provided testing using your Theranos capillary tubes and nanotainer tubes for the following analytes with modified assays that are not cleared for use with capillary blood samples, and there's a list. You should repeat testing for these analytes using unmodified assays cleared by the FDA for use with capillary blood samples. So here, FDA is saying you need to use devices that are cleared for capillary blood in order to submit your data, correct?
I'm sorry, I lost you. Where are you?
It's 2.
Oh, I was in the wrong one. Okay. Yes, I see the sentence.
So my question to you was, so FDA is saying here to you that it was not okay to use modified assays that are not cleared for use with capillary blood, and that you should use cleared assays that have been cleared for use with capillary blood, correct?
I believe for the specific analytes that are listed in the sentence above.
Was that a yes?
For those analytes, yes.
And then if you turn to page 4 of Exhibit 232, or number 332, for number 3, the letter goes on to say, we have serious concerns with many of the method comparison results provided in your submission. For example, the regression analysis you provided for albumin, potassium, and sodium obtained slopes of 0.829, 1.415, and 0.884 respectively. We have not cleared a recent blood collection device that obtained results with such high bias. This high bias means there's a big difference between results generated by your CTN and the results generated by the comparative tube. It's very important that results obtained by your CTN generate accurate results, because patients could be harmed if an unnecessary medical treatment is used based on inaccurate diagnostic results. Do you see that?
I do.
Were you aware that there was a high bias in your method comparison results, and that this could lead to patient harm if patients believed the inaccurate results and then acted upon them?
No, actually, my memory in general was that our team specifically disagreed with the statistics that were being applied in some of the bias calculations specifically.
Who on your team was disagreeing with the bias data?
I believe our biostatistics team.
And who's that?
But I remember that we ended up having to engage directly with the FDA statisticians about that.
Was it or was there anyone else on his team that was involved in this?
I think that was as well. I'm not sure who else. I don't know who else.
Okay. Why don't you turn to page 8 of the document, which is 336. Under precision studies, number 15, do you see that?
I do.
So here, the letter states, we have serious concerns with many of the precision results provided in your submission. For example, the total precision percent CVs you obtained for potassium and ferritin were 8.0% and 19.12% respectively. These precision results were unusually large and unacceptable based on the comparison to the cleared assay's performance. And then a few lines down, it says, when repeating the precision studies for these analytes with unmodified assays, please ensure that you provide acceptable precision studies with results that could demonstrate your CTN do not contribute additional imprecision or change the imprecision to the results obtained by the cleared assay. Do you see that?
I do.
Were you aware that FDA believed that the precision data that Theranos had submitted was concerning to them?
I don't remember any specific discussions on precision. I know that our teams, again, were engaging with their statisticians, including on study design and the effect of pooling samples and other things that could impact variability in the results.
When was your team working with the FDA statisticians?
I don't know specifically.
Would it have been in this 2014 timeframe, end of 2014 timeframe?
I don't know.
Do you know whether the precision studies were ever submitted again to the FDA?
I think we did a submission after this that resulted in the December call we were talking about, and then I believe we did additional studies and submissions in 2015.
What happened to the 510K submission for the nanotainer in the end?
The final submissions?
Yes, what happened to the submission? Did you receive clearance or approval for the nanotainer?
Only in the HSV1 clearance.
What about for the other assays?
No.
So what happened to those submissions?
I don't remember specifically. I think that after we, I don't remember. I believe that I'm trying to remember the sequencing of when we started looking at potentially exiting the clinical lab business and we stopped using the nanotainer. They'd given us feedback on our final set of submissions, and I think we decided to pause work on everything except for trying to do root cause analysis of our business operations and fix the issues. So I think we didn't follow the last set of feedback from the agency.
So, and when did you stop using the nanotainer?
I believe it was in the fall of 15, or summer, late summer, fall of 15.
Would it have been before or after FDA's inspection of Theranos?
I think it was when FDA said they were going to issue quality systems observations on the nanotainer, on one of the nanotainers.
So when FDA said they were going to issue a 43 with a deficiency about Theranos' nanotainers, that would have been the time when you pulled the nanotainer from use?
Yes, and just to be clear, it was on one of our nanotainers, not on the other one.
Did you ever tell prospective investors that FDA had concerns with the data that Theranos had submitted for the nanotainer device?
Again, I don't remember conversations specifically on this, but I know we were talking about the fact that we were trying to get the annotators through and trying to work with the agency on feedback about them.
So you don't know either way whether you told them that there were serious concerns from the FDA over use of the nanotainer device?
I don't know what we specifically said.
So in the middle of, are you done with that document?
Yes, you
Why
can
don't we
put
take a
aside.
break then?
We're off record at 4:34 p.m.
We are back on the record at 5:25.
Ms. Holmes, we have no further questions at this time. We will be...
Sorry, we didn't have any substantive discussions with the staff during the break, is that correct?
And I did not.
During the break or all week?
We have no further questions at this time. We will be adjourning testimony to a later date, but thank you for coming in.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
This concludes media number 4 and volume 2 of Elizabeth Holmes. We're off the record at 5:26.